Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy and coming up in the next 30 minutes. Another blow to impeach South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol. Anti-graft agency receives a new arrest warrant. Death toll in the 7.1 magnitude quake in Tibet climbs to 95. Several places in Nepal, Bhutan and India as well as Bangladesh feel the powerful jolts as well. Donald Trump Jr. lands in Greenland after his father and US President-elect expresses interest in acquiring the Dutch autonomous territory. And France marks 10 years of Charlie Hebdo attack. Indestructible satirical prints issue with fallen illustrators at heart. First up, South Korea's corruption investigation agency said on Tuesday that the court has reissued a warrant to arrest impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol, whose failed martial law bid threw the country into turmoil. Investigators seeking to question him on allegations of insurrection have struggled to execute a warrant for his arrest. Yoon has refused questioning 3 times and is holed up in his residence, surrounded by hundreds of guards, preventing his arrest. Yoon's lawyers have repeatedly said the initial warrant was unlawful and illegal, pledging to take further legal action against it. And South Korea's transport minister has said on Tuesday he intends to step down to take responsibility for the deadly crash of a Boeing jet operated by Jeju Air on the 29th of December.
As a minister who is responsible for aviation safety, I feel heavily responsible for this disaster. As a responsible authority, I will take appropriate actions and I am discussing the right way and timing.
The Transport Ministry also said it will swiftly improve the safety of airport landing systems that experts said contributed to the catastrophic accident that killed 179 people on board. Jeju Air 7C2216, which departed the Thai capital of Bangkok for Muan in southwestern South Korea, belly landed and overshot the regional airport's runway, exploding into flames after hitting an embankment, killing 179 people on board. Now, a massive 7.1 magnitude earthquake struck Nepal-Tibet border early on Tuesday, killing nearly 100 people and injuring 130 others, with tremors felt in some parts of India, Bangladesh, Bhutan and other parts. The quake's epicenter was located approximately 91 kilometers from Lobuche in Nepal, and it was followed by numerous aftershocks with magnitudes of up to 4.4 on the Richter scale. An earthquake of this magnitude is considered strong and is capable of causing severe damage. Emergency response teams in Nepal and India are on high alert to assess the impact of the quake. Officials are closely monitoring the situation and have urged citizens to remain calm and prepare for possible aftershocks. Israel has said that they are fully committed to reach an agreement to return its hostages from Gaza, but are facing obstruction from the Hamas. Earlier, Israel indicated that there is no clarification from the Hamas whether 34 hostages who are ready to be freed are dead or alive, throwing doubt on the group's assertion that it needed time to ascertain their fate. Mediators from Qatar, Egypt and the US have been working for months to strike a deal to end the fighting in Gaza, but both warring sides have accused the other of derailing negotiations. And Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has said on Monday that the end of Kurdish fighters in Syria was getting closer and added that there was no room for terror in Syria's future after the ousting of Bashar al-Assad last month.
We see that the new Syrian administration is trying to build a Syria based on the territorial integrity and unity of the country, and that it is determined to do so. Our sincere desire, expectation, and policy are in this direction. We will not consent to the disintegration of Syria or the disruption of its unitary structure under any guise. If we see a risk in this regard, we will take the necessary steps quickly.
Bu konuda
Meanwhile, Damascus airport has resumed operating international flights. After a gap of almost 13 years, the first Qatari commercial flight landed in Damascus. In a startling disclosure, the United Nations Rights Chief has revealed on Tuesday that Iran executed over 900 individuals last year, with a staggering 40 executions taking place in a single week in December. The UN Rights Chief has called on Iranian authorities to immediately cease all further executions and to implement a moratorium on the death penalty, with the ultimate goal of abolishing it entirely. Iran employs capital punishment for severe crimes including murders, drug trafficking, rapes and sexual assaults. Donald Trump Jr. arrived in Greenland's capital Nuuk on Tuesday, adding to speculation about American control of the resource-rich Arctic island shortly after his father, US President-elect Donald Trump, expressed renewed interest in the territory. Trump Jr. arrived in a private jet at about 12:50 GMT, according to a live stream from Nuuk Airport, for what he and officials described as a private visit. President-elect Trump, who takes office on the 20th of January, had earlier praised the island on his social media platform Truth Social, promising to make Greenland great again. Greenland's Prime Minister, Mute Egede, has said that the island is not for sale, but in his New Year speech stepped up a push for independence from Denmark. A New York judge has rejected US President-elect Donald Trump's request to delay sentencing set for later this week in his hush money case. Judge Juan Merchan had ruled last week that Trump's sentencing should go ahead despite his upcoming inauguration.
US President-elect Donald Trump on Monday lost a bid to put off his sentencing on 10th January for his criminal conviction stemming from hush money paid to an adult film star. In their Monday filing, Trump lawyers asked the judge to hold off sentencing while the appeals play out. In a written ruling later on the day, the judge declined to push back Trump's January 10th sentencing. In scheduling Trump's sentencing for Friday, the judge noted last week that he was not inclined to send the US president-elect to jail. He wrote that a sentence of unconditional discharge, effectively putting a judgment of guilt on his record without a fine or a probation, would be the most practical approach given Trump's looming inauguration. The sentence would nevertheless see Trump entering the White House as a convicted felon. The judge said Trump may appear at his sentencing either in person or virtually. The case stemmed from a $130,000 payment Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, made to an adult film actor, Stormy Daniels, to keep her quiet about a sexual encounter she said she had with Trump, who denies it. After a 6-week trial, a jury found Trump guilty on 34 felony counts of falsifying records to mask the payment prior to the 2016 election. The hush money case made Trump the first US president to be charged with and convicted of a crime. Since the verdict, his lawyers have made 2 unsuccessful attempts to have the case tossed. Bureau Report, DD India.
A winter storm brought snow, ice and freezing temperatures to a broad swathe of the US on Monday, with some 70 million people across more than a dozen states from Kansas to New Jersey under winter weather warnings and advisories. Fresh on this storm's heels, forecasters warned that another weather system is threatening to wreak more havoc later in the week. Across the Atlantic in the UK and Germany, heavy snowfall and rains have affected air travel and disrupted daily life.
A major storm system which blanketed a large swathe of central and eastern United States in snow and ice disrupted travel for millions and claimed several lives. The National Weather Service of the US said that it is the country's first major winter storm of the year, which will exit eastward by Tuesday. Forecasters also warned that another weather system is threatening to wreak more havoc later in the week, potentially bringing a rare major snowstorm to Texas as it heads east. About 5 inches snow had fallen in the capital Washington DC by Monday, with up to 8 inches in some surrounding areas of Maryland and Virginia. While the parts of Kansas experienced bitter cold wind chills with values from -15 to 32 degrees Celsius overnight. The airport in Kansas City recorded 11 inches of snowfall, the highest for any storm in more than 30 years. The Missouri State Police said it had responded to more than 1,000 stranded motorists and 356 crashes, including one fatality in a day. Over 2,300 US flights were cancelled and thousands more delayed due to the winter storm, and nearly 200,000 people remained without power in the affected regions. In Europe, heavy snowfall has affected air travel in the United Kingdom and Germany. Several airports were temporarily shut down following the adverse weather conditions. Frankfurt Airport in Germany cancelled 120 of its 1,090 planned takeoffs and landings yesterday due to clearance work on runways and reduced visibility. Germany's weather service has issued black ice warnings for people, advising them to stay home where possible. In UK, dozens of people were rescued in Lincolnshire and Leicestershire as heavy rains caused severe flooding in the Midlands on Monday. Yellow weather warnings for snow and ice have been issued in Northern Ireland, parts of Scotland and Wales, and areas of northwest and southwest England. Bureau Report, DD India.
If there's one issue that has caused more trouble for once economically powerful Germany, it's the energy crisis. It started with Russia's conflict in Ukraine and the end of gas deliveries. But Germans are working hard for a way out. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin. Good evening from Delhi. Lars, what's the latest in how to improve the situation?
Thanks for having me. Well, it appears Germany is doing better and better in getting their renewable energy supplies together. Now, we've had renewables for a while and they're already providing much of the country's energy mix. In fact, in 2024, renewables have provided more than half of it for the very first time. That would be 54% to be exact. Now, for the details, 14% is solar, 33% is wind, and the rest, of course, is biomass and hydro energy. Other sources, of course, are still coal and gas. And even though Germany has switched off its nuclear power plants 2 years ago, we still do use nuclear power. It's imported and it's still more than 1 terawatt hour per month. Not ideal if you ask me. After all, it would have been cheaper to keep our own plants running, but that's politics. Anyway, the good news I'm seeing in this very latest report on energy in Germany is that solar especially has been growing faster than expected, and that means by extension that over time we are producing more renewable energy ourselves and we're getting off imports or fossil fuels faster.
And Lars, how is wind energy doing in this? Is this renewable energy form also growing in Germany?
It is, and that is true for onshore as well as offshore turbines. Now, when it comes to onshore, businesses in the industry are very optimistic for 2025, and they're expecting further growth. It's a little bit different, however, for offshore. That is partially due to the very high cost for offshore wind parks. But make no mistake, they are being built in the North Sea as well as the Baltic Sea. However, last year, fewer turbines were set up than was planned. Instead of 8 gigawatt, only 3 gigawatt were added to the system. But experts in the sector are expecting that in the long run, not only the total amount of wind energy harvested will grow again, but also that wind turbines will grow and supply more energy per individual machine.
Lars Holter, thank you so much for joining us from Berlin with that update. Now let's take a look at some news stories making headlines across the world as well. Now, Jean-Marie Le Pen, founder of France's far-right National Rally Party, has died at the age of 96 on Tuesday. Jordan Bandera, president of the National Rally, as the party is now known, confirmed Le Pen's death in a post on social media platform X. Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama was sworn in for his second term as leader of the West African nation on Tuesday. Mahama won the presidential election held last month after pledging to tackle the economic crisis, corruption and unemployment. Creating and sharing sexually explicit deepfakes will become a criminal offence in Britain, the government said on Tuesday. This initiative aims to tackle a surge in the proliferation of such images, mainly targeting women and girls. Deepfakes are pictures and videos generated or edited using artificial intelligence, featuring real people. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India's capital Delhi is to undergo a single phase of polling for its assembly on the 5th of February. Counting will be held on the 8th. The 18th edition of India's diaspora event, Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention, is to begin on Wednesday in Odisha's Bhubaneswar for the first time. And artificial intelligence is a major theme at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas as it opens on Tuesday.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, voting for all 70 seats of Delhi will be held in a single phase on the 5th of February. India's Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar said on Tuesday that the votes will be counted on the 8th of the next month.
So this is the schedule. We will start, it's a single phase election. Date of notification will be 10th of January, Friday. Last date of making nomination will be 17th of January. Scrutiny on 18th of January. Withdrawal 20th. These are the statutory periods of time which is given. Date of poll is 5th and counting is 8th, and 5th again we have very deliberately kept Wednesday. Entire election process after counting will be complete by 10th.
And the CEC also highlighted that India's capital has over 15 million voters, which includes 84,000 male, 72,000 female and 1,300 third gender voters.
There are 1.55 crore voters as per the electoral rolls declared yesterday by the CO. 83.49 lakhs male and 71.74 female. Young voters are also 25.89. First time voters are 2.08 lakhs. This is what we are trying everywhere to get new voters. If we look at the PWD voters, there are 830 centenarian voters also. We have worked on transgender voters. We want them to please come and join us. There are 1.0985 plus voters.
Now, the 18th edition of the Pravasi Bharati Divas will be held in the coastal state of Odisha. The flagship event provides an important platform to connect and engage with the Indian diaspora and enable them to interact with each other.
The Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention is being organized for the first time in the state of Odisha, which is famous for its rich historical, cultural and spiritual heritage. The 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention will be formally inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi ji, on 9th of January. Her Excellency Christian Carla Kangaru ORTT, the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, will be the chief guest of the 18th Prasar Bharati Divas, and she would be virtually addressing the convention.
Well, the convention is significant as it is being organized for the first time in the state of Odisha amid its rich historical, cultural and spiritual heritage. And India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is in Bhubaneswar as well to participate in this year's Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. The minister visited the Sun Temple in Konark earlier today. And speaking to the media, the minister said that the state of Odisha is all set to hold the event, which will be attended by the nation's president and prime minister.
कि प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस होगा, पहली बार उड़ीसा में होगा और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि उसके लिए जो भी हमारी ओर से प्रयास होनी चाहिए, जो तैयारी होनी चाहिए, हमारे माननीय मुख्यमंत्री और उड़ीसा के शासन ने बहुत अपनी ओर से बहुत कोशिश की है, बहुत ध्यान दिया है। आप जानते हैं कि इस अवसर पर राष्ट्रपति जी भी आएंगी, प्रधानमंत्री जी भी आएंगे, तो ये एक किस्म से उड़ीसा के लिए शोकेस करने का अवसर भी है कि दुनिया के मैप में उड़ीसा को पूरा कैसे केंद्रित करें।
The External Affairs Minister also visited the Raghurajpur Arts Village. He said that it's an apt occasion to showcase the rich and diverse arts and craft of Odisha and hoped that Pravasis, that is the Indian diaspora, will also visit the arts village. Sri Lanka opposition leader has slammed leadership changes in Suva Syria ambulance service. Taking to ex-MP Premadasa said that the dedicated team behind the 1990 Suva Syria ambulance service was one that had excelled during the COVID-19 crisis and beyond. He pointed out that such high-performing teams are rare and should be rewarded and not disregarded due to political shifts. Now, these remarks have followed Sri Lankan President Anurakkumara Dissanayike's recent appointment of a new chairperson and board members to the 1990 Suva Syria Foundation. Launched in 2016 with Indian grant assistance of $7.56 million, the service is a lifeline for Sri Lanka, providing island-wide emergency medical care. The annual Consumer Electronics Show, or CES, officially opened in Las Vegas on Tuesday. At the event, artificial intelligence will be a major theme, alongside autonomous vehicles ranging from tractors and boats to lawnmowers and golf club trolleys. The gathering is one of the largest for manufacturers, analysts and suppliers in the US. The show, running from the 7th of this month till the 10th, will feature product debuts spanning new automotive technology to quirky gadgets, alongside innovative applications for artificial intelligence. A highlight this year includes a keynote speech from AI chip giant Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA.
This is now the new way of doing computing. This is the new way of doing software. Every software engineer, every creative artist, everybody who uses computers today as a tool will need an AI supercomputer.
And Tuesday marks the 10th anniversary of the attacks on the offices of French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo. The attack resulted in 12 deaths and sparked global outrage over assaults on the freedom of the media. Diptanshu Kashyap reports.
France marked the 10th anniversary of the January 2015 attacks on the French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo and a supermarket, which resulted in the deaths of 17 people. The attackers stormed the magazine's newsroom, killing 12 people.
Je crois qu'elle est toujours présente en fait.
I think it is still present among the people who were there that day, because these are physical sensations that cannot be get rid of. It's something that is part of our lives, and we cannot erase that moment in our lives.
The attack was followed the next day by Md Koulibaly's killing of a trainee policewoman and a Jewish store attack where he murdered 4 hostages before being killed by police. All 3 attackers were killed in separate standoffs. Former French President François Hollande recalled his strongest memory from that period The call from a Charlie Hebdo editorial member moments after the tragedy. Hollande was at the center of this unfolding crisis. From the initial response to the solidarity march with the world leaders.
To be president means to take action. In that case, it was about neutralizing the terrorists and ensuring the safety of the French people. But it's also about sharing an emotion, compassion, solidarity.
To mark the anniversary of the attack on its newsroom, Charlie Hebdo released a special edition of the magazine. French President Emmanuel Macron also laid a wreath at the commemoration ceremony. The publication has long pushed the boundaries of free speech. Diptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
Time to get some sporting updates as well. And India's Sports Minister, Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, chaired the first meeting of Mission Olympic Cell of the year 2025 in New Delhi on Tuesday. Several important decisions such as inclusion of key sports bodies under the Mission Olympic Cell were taken. The aim has been to nurture young talent from grassroots levels who would compete in the Olympics and other international events.
The first meeting of Mission Olympic Cell of the year 2025 took place in New Delhi on Tuesday. The meeting was chaired by Union Sports Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia along with stakeholders from the sports industry including celebrated badminton coach Pullela Gopichand, Gagan Narang, IOC Vice President and other sports dignitaries. The meeting took several important decisions along with the inclusion of JSW, Reliance Foundation, Sports Petroleum Board and Railway Sports Promotion Board under the wings of Mission Olympic Cell with an aim to nurture young talent from grassroots level.
2028 के ओलंपिक्स की तैयारी हमने अभी से चालू कर दिया है। आज मिशन ओलंपिक सेल की प्रथम मीटिंग हुई। सभी देश के स्पोर्ट्स में जाने माने लोग इस कमेटी में प्रतिनिधित्व कर रहे हैं। आने वाले दिनों में टैलेंट को आइडेंटिफाई करके उसका नर्चर कैसे करना और नर्चर करके टॉप के तहत उसको नेशनल और इंटरनेशनल प्लेटफॉर्म पर एक्सपोजर देके ओलंपिक्स और इंटरनेशनल चैम्पियनशिप में हमारे एथलीट सफल रहे, इस विषय पर डिटेल्ड डिस्कशन हुआ।
Speaking on the occasion, the minister said that the meeting has been fruitful and they are now eyeing LA Olympics 2028. Indian Olympic Association's Vice President Gagan Narang said that they pondered over India's performance at recently concluded Paris Olympics and now are completely focused on LA Olympics 2028, for which constructive discussion has taken place.
Well, I think the meeting was very progressive and productive. I think a lot of points for the development of sport from grassroots till the elite were discussed. The drawbacks that the Paris cycle had were discussed as well, and how we would go forward to implement and make the systems much better in the 2028 LA cycle were also discussed.
India is upbeat about its participation at LA Olympics 2028 and positive about its bid to host 2036 Olympics, for which the government is leaving no stone unturned. Deepika Mehto's report for DD India.
And that's all we have for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code on the screen and download the app now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.